I'm Judge Andrew Napolitano, and the verdict is coming on President Barack Obama's historic plan to overhaul and regulate our financial institutions. Here's the question. What is left out of this proposal is, and what we deserve to know is, who will regulate the Federal Reserve? What will become of clauses in the Constitution that prohibit the very type of regulation the president wants? And what is now the meaning of the word free in free market? Here are the facts.
Right,
the bias of the drafters of this proposal is that the government knows best. The Constitution should not be an obstacle to the egalitarian goals of the government, and no private behavior is beyond the government's reach of its huge hand. The essence of the proposal is to give the Federal Reserve the authority to regulate any aspect of any firms that, in its discretion, its sole discretion, could adversely affect the economy if they fail. The Fed would thus be the only unregulated private entity on the planet. This private, super secret bank, half of whose board is appointed by the president, is the most secret aspect in all of the government. Think about it. The job of the CIA is to steal and to keep secrets. But we know more about the CIA than we do the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is a private, completely unregulated bank into which the Obama administration proposes to repose all regulatory authority, from the compensation of executives to the investments companies make, to the location of their franchises. Are you ready for this? To the amount of fat in McDonald's cheeseburgers, without appeal and without stating reasons for the regulations. All grouped investments, even if the investors own the group, like hedge funds, like you and your neighbors getting together to buy a house, will be subject to the Fed's new rules. All state-chartered banks will now be subject to the Fed. All businesses, whether financial in nature or not, that are owned by any financial institutions shall be subject to the Fed. Even mom and pop shops and stores, if, in the Fed's opinion, could fail, and thus produce systemic harm to the economy, shall be subject to the rule of the Fed. The Fed shall have the authority to require lawyers and accountants to report data to the Fed that even the IRS presently lacks. There appears to be no limit to the private human behavior that the Fed will not be able to find a way to regulate under this proposal. If you want to hear more of opinions such as these,
all right, folks,
take a look at my...
That is the clip. Now, we're going to come back and give you the full magnitude. It's worse than even he's saying, because if you take a bank loan, they're going to say you're under federal control of a private bank. This is total dictatorship by the offshore bankers. More of your calls coming up in the next segment. We've got Rob Dude popping in, one of the producers, to give us some reports on what's in the new flu shot. Got some more guests coming up this week and next week on that subject as they get ready to try to push forced inoculations in this country. But I just played what Napolitano said. And his producers have told me they listen to the show, they like the show. They picked up on our analysis and went and looked at the bill. We're glad they did that. But Glenn Beck is going to be supporting the banker takeover bill. You better believe it. And that's how the media is going to phrase this. Look, we stopped the depression with what the banks just did. In truth, the banks hoarded all the money and are killing Main Street right now. But the banks are doing good, so they call that a good economy, the jobless recovery. You live in soup kitchens and you lose your job or you take a cut in pay and the bankers make trillions off your back in tax money and then they set up FEMA camps. That's the new economy. So that's what they're pushing. That's what they're setting up. And they're going to say now, okay, the depression's going to get worse if you don't do this. We're going to kill the economy if you don't submit to us. It's like in Blazing Saddles where the sheriff's surrounded and he says, drop your guns or I'll shoot myself. But they're not really going to shoot themselves. They're going to shoot our country in the head. These are criminals feeding on the planet. Now, this story, written by Paul Watson and Steve Watson, from my breakdown of the facts, is key. Obama regulatory reform plan officially establishes banking dictatorship in the United States. And I'm asking everybody to go get this article from June 18th, 3-4 months ago, and to get it out to everybody again, along with the Napolitano video that we just played. I'm asking everybody to go and get this so people understand what's about to happen. Because if the foreign offshore banks get a total dictatorial power in the country, it's going to be rough. Either we abolish the Fed and arrest the bankers, or they're going to keep growing like a cancer. President Obama's plan to give the private-owned and unaccountable Federal Reserve complete regulatory oversight across the entire U.S. economy, which is likely to be enacted before the end of the year, now they're trying it, will officially herald the beginning of a new form of government in the United States, an ultra-powerful banking dictatorship controlled by a small gaggle of shadowy and corrupt elitists. The new rules would see the Fed given the authority to regulate any company whose activity it believes could threaten the economy and the markets. Yeah, but see, this is the group threatening the markets. This is the group that's done this. This is the group that did the derivatives. But now they're given, total power to save us. That goes a step further than the centrally planned economies of the Soviet Union or Communist China, in that the Federal Reserve is not even accountable to the U.S. government. It is a private entity that, according to the former Fed Chairman Alan Greenspan, is accountable to no one but the banking families that own it. And he said that on Laden NewsHour. Obama's regulatory reform plan is nothing less than a green light for the complete and total takeover of the United States by a private banking cartel that will usurp the power of existing regulatory bodies who are now being blamed for the financial crisis in order that their status can be abolished and their roles handed over to the all-powerful Federal Reserve. And it goes on for page after page after page after page of detailed analysis. And I'm going to read a little bit more here, but the issue is either we say no to the government takeover of healthcare. That's just a new tax to the banks. They're just going to take over healthcare, water it down, take 20% of your paycheck extra. You're not going to get jack crap back. Okay? There's that. There's this banking takeover. There's the expansion of the wars. There's the Cybersecurity Act taking over the internet. There's the Cyberbullying Act, free speech ending, hate bills passed the House, openly says you don't even have to call for anything criminal. You still get arrested. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all happening. It's all 180 degrees away from freedom. In fact, cut to a close shot for me real fast right here. Okay, here is the political system. Okay, here is the political system symbolized as a circle. Okay? When we come back, I'm going to get into it for everybody. But here is the political system symbolized as a circle. And I'll show you tyranny versus liberty when we get back after this quick break on the other side. Again, the website's rnfowars.com, prisonplanet.tv, and we're here live Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central. We don't have the big New World Order media promoting us. We reach new listeners one person at a time by you telling your neighbors, your friends, your family, your email list about this radio show. So keep spreading the word. The show is exploding in size.